Welcome back, YouTubers. You've tuned into the British Fist Wednesday topical video where we're going to be continuing from last week's video where we talked about future main eventers that we feel that are in the WWE right now. Today we're going to be talking about developmental guys and guys we feel could be future mid-carders for the company. We're the British Fist, though.
Coaching!
I am Mr. Parkin, and this guy who I'm sitting opposite by is the one and only NJ.
What's up?
Indeed. Make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video, and get your comments on what you see in this video, the topics, the wrestlers, in that comment section down below.
Make sure you contact us in the link in the Gooch box below.
Do you know what you look like you were doing there, NJ? You look like you were fucking doing an orchestra.
Izzy, Wizzy, let's get busy.
Let's get busy doing this video then.
That's it.
So today, on a continuation from the last Wednesday video we did, we're going to be talking about guys who we feel could be in that main event scene, guys that we're not really sure about, guys that could be there but might not, depending on how their characters go, and future mid-carders we feel for the company that are in the roster right now. We're going to be talking first about Mason Ryan. The guy from Wales, he has that roided up Batista look, and with that look, we saw how well Batista did with it. Maybe if they really build him right, Mason Ryan could do the same thing for WWE.
The thing about Mason Ryan, what I'm going to say, is that they've had Punk bring him up into the WWE because they had that fallout between Punk and Mason. Then they had Mason disappear, which was a bit of a shame.
No.
But the way they brought him back, come as a heel, turn as a baby face, and I think they could do good things for Mason Ryan. They got the crowd behind him already.
Yeah, he has got the crowd behind him. I do feel that when they first brought him in, they should have done a bit more with him. He is very green in the ring at the moment, but like I said, he has that look. And he might not necessarily be the best wrestler, like a Daniel Bryan or a Dolph Ziggler, but he has that kind of look which people want to see, especially as a babyface like a Batista. He has that look which can really draw money. And sometimes in the business, it's not about how good a wrestler is. We've seen that with Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior in the past. It's about how much money they draw, and that is what Mason Ryan brings, potential drawing power. That's why WWE needs to push this guy and see where he goes.
And I think with the crowd behind him already, to be honest, that is one good thing that WWE needs to concentrate on, that he has the crowd behind him after just a return. And then, again, he could be a possible mid-card, and then I think, to be honest, when he's done with mid-card in a few years, he could maybe be a higher mid-card.
Give it 5 years, and I think that there's a good possibility that he could be holding that main strap. Just
good picture.
If we're still doing videos in 5 years' time, then we can look about this one and say that we were right or wrong, either way. So Mason Ryan is a definite candidate there for a future main event Batista-like roided up babyface or even heel. So
I'd like to see it.
He will need to work on his mic skills, though. Definitely. The next guy we're going to talk about is a guy that WWE recently signed this year. He is a Mexican sensation, lucha libre style, Sin Cara. Now, we've seen that this guy botches a lot, and he doesn't necessarily put on the great matches, but he gets a great reaction from the crowd, and his potential drawing power in international markets, which, let's face it, WWE need to concentrate on, is very, very large.
That's very true, but the thing is, again, you're saying the positive. His first bringing to the company has been bad, because he had that, that drug thing, and to be honest, that was a bad start. The WWE are going to look at that for a little while longer. I think in future, once he's grown past that, I think, to be honest, they could work with him, as you said.
I think the problem at the moment they're having is his lucha libre style doesn't necessarily suit the American style of wrestling, but once they've kind of embedded him into the American style and he learns English, the guy needs to learn how to work feuds. That is the main thing he needs to learn at the moment. And if he can do that, he really does have a lot of potential drawing power. How many kids do you reckon will want to buy a Sin Cara mask? In terms of merchandise sales, it might get to the point where WWE say, well, this guy's selling the most merchandise, and they do a Rey Mysterio and say, well, we're going to put him in that main event scene and see how much people like him.
That's what I was going to say. They've looked at Rey Mysterio. He was selling loads of masks and stuff like that. So I think the WWE are going to do a replay of that, but with Sin Cara, because Sin Cara is going to be a possible new Rey Mysterio. But at the moment in time, he's got to work on the botches, because his botches are noticed in a lot of his matches.
And this is why we included him in this list, because we don't know what's going to happen with this guy. But all we know is that he can be a definite potential draw for WWE in international markets, which is what they need to do.
I think they need to concentrate on different areas than just America and the UK.
The next guy we have on here is a guy we haven't really seen too much of at the moment, but in terms of what we see from him and in terms of what he could give WWE, he is definitely a surefire guy for a future WWE possible mid-carder, if not maybe even main eventer if you're pushing it. And that is Skip Sheffield. Again, he has that roided up roided up look. You can be babyface or heel. We haven't seen much of him. He was in with Nexus, but he does have that look, and he does have that kind of look where you would say, in the future he could be a guy when he gets his wrestling skill, fine tunes them up, and maybe gets his mic skills better. Could be that guy.
That's very true, because thing is, he's got the history. He's had the whole NXT, and then he had Nexus, so he's been built up in a way that you think, cool, this guy is dominant, he's got that about him. The only sad thing is, just like Mason Ryan, he has made a huge disappearance. So to be honest, we have to wait till he comes back and see how he is when he comes back. But he's definitely had a good start with the NXT and Nexus.
And just expanding on what you said there, he was the enforcer of Nexus, wasn't he, with his big, muscles and everything. So, that is what they have him. If you keep that character with him, it's a shame that he got injured, because Nexus really did need a guy like that, an enforcer type guy like a Mason Ryan. So him getting injured was a big miss for Nexus. I mean, one of the reasons why their group kind of dwindled a little bit for me.
Yeah, because to be honest, with him there, he was always there to back up. He was there to make Nexus look stronger than they were. And I'm thinking, having him come back with all this strength and this anger, maybe they could reuse that and relive it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he does need to come back, let's face it, and get over in some way with the crowd. As soon as WWE actually do that and actually see how the crowd responds to him, and then they can continue to develop him. But if he doesn't get that, then he's just going to be another one of those guys that didn't make it in the WWE.
And I think, to be honest, if he does come back, he should continue being a heel, because he played it so well when he was in Nexus. And I'm thinking he could be a good heel for the mid-card when he comes back.
Or even the main event, even if he develops
that's
that
a push
far.
to him, yeah.
And that is the whole premise of this video, really, isn't it? With the whole, could he be the main event guy? We don't know, do we?
He's got a look about him that thinks, yes, he could be a dominant main eventer, but at the minute, mid-card would be a start-up for him, I think.
Drew McIntyre, NJ. A guy who was originally labelled as the Chosen One, and had, nice one, and was Vince McMahon's Chosen One. They have really dropped the ball with this guy lately, but he does have, he's 26 years old, he's very young, he still has time to develop, and he still has time to get a push. He could be part of WWE's future, whether it's mid-card or upper mid-card. Maybe not main event, but upper mid-card or mid-card, definitely.
The sad thing is, they had him going uphill quickly with the whole Vince McMahon on his side, and then the whole Chosen One nickname. But to be honest, when they drop that, I think they're going to have to try really hard, because they've also been burying him. That's two problems. They've got to try really hard to make us believe that he could be back up in the mid-card / main event.
Yeah, so and you raise a good point there.
I think they're going to struggle, I think, because they've ruined his character a lot just by one move.
They have. That is the only problem with Drew McIntyre. He's got potential, but WWE it's backstage politics. They're taking backstage politics into account, and he's not getting the rub because of it.
And to be honest, I think it's going to be hard to get him the main event because he's got from the Chosen One. They can't relive that now because he ruined that. So I think, how are they going to do it?
We don't know. But the next guy we'll talk about is Justin Gabriel. Again, I don't see this guy. I see this guy appealing to women and kids, but I don't see him being in that main event scene. He's kind of like an X Division guy, isn't he? He's not really the kind of guy who you'd really push into that main event, but you're definitely using the mid card to go after, say, a mid card title. He does have appeal to the fans in terms of women and kids with his look, doesn't he? And with his finishing move, which is very over.
The way I see it, he was a good member of Nexus, the core. His tag team, so he's been the highlight of these factions and tag team. So to be honest, I think he could be pushed into the mid card, become a good mid card champ. But the way I look at it is that maybe, I'm not saying he's going to be exactly like him, but I think in years, not 5 years, but more, he could become like maybe a Eddie Guerrero, not as strong as him, but I could see him as a main event in years.
What, high-flying kind of...
Yeah, stuff that would be... Not in 5 years, but a lot more.
Okay.
But I think he can make it.
It's a possibility. That's the great thing. We just don't know what is going to happen there. We're just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I see mid-carder / upper mid-carder. You see possible main eventer. But
in loads of years.
In loads of years. All right then, fair enough. It's just a shame WWE aren't really giving him a chance at the moment in terms of a push. They really need to find out how the crowd react to him and how he works a feud. It just doesn't seem like they're giving him that chance at the moment, does it?
Because the thing we speak about is the video package showing that he's got a
South
big
Africa.
background and he's been a big, huge
Yeah.
hit in places.
South Africa,
South Africa. And They just got to keep working on that, but they just haven't started yet.
And that was their real opportunity, in my opinion, to really get him over as a babyface. And they've got him over as a babyface, just not as well as I thought they would. What about the next three we're going to talk about? Are kind of people which we don't really know, but are worth mentioning because they've been involved with some companies. So first, we're going to talk about Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal has that anti-American heel look, which is always guaranteed to get heel heat, kind of like they had Muhammad Hassan get heel heat and Davari. You know, I don't feel this guy has a potential to be a main eventer, but I do feel he has a potential to be a big heel in WWE if they enhance his character correctly.
Well, first thing when he joined the WWE, the first thing I noticed is the look.
Yeah.
He's got a heel look about him, and I just thought, yeah, there we go. There could be another possible, not as good, but another Del Rio. Because he's got that heel look about him, and I just thought, maybe if they book him correctly, he could become a weak version of Del Rio, but they just dropped that quickly.
They have dropped the ball with him a lot, but he does have, because he's probably not from India, but he does have, presence in an Indian market because he has that Indian, anti-American heel look about him. And again, what we say here, it's like with Sin Cara and Del Rio, they have to penetrate international markets, and these are the kind of wrestlers they need to use to penetrate those markets. And let's face it, Asia, India are very big markets, and the markets that WWE could use, which is one of the reasons why they may consider pushing him at some point in the future to really penetrate those markets. I think that's the main selling point, his anti-American heel gimmick and his potential in the Indian/Asia market.
That's true. I think he should aim that way because most of his promos he does talk in different language.
Yes.
But when he first joined the WWE, he had the suit and all that, and they made him look huge.
They did.
And then I thought, okay, keep going with that. But again, I'm just going to keep repeating it. They've dropped him quickly with losing matches, burying him,
and the association with Great Ali that never worked.
Yeah. So to be honest, again, he's got a look about him, but I can't see it working out for him yet.
Based on current booking, I suppose.
Yeah,
another guy which I'm going to briefly touch upon, he's had a lot of video packages recently which figures that WWE might see something in him. That's Brodus Clay. We've seen he's a very big guy. He's kind of like a Mark Henry kind of guy. Do we see this guy having any influence in WWE? Maybe not in the main event scene, but as a guy like a Mark Henry or a Big Show kind of person, replacement maybe.
Well, with Brodus Clay, with video packages in the WWE, the video packages are normally for people that are actually going to get somewhere. Like they've had Sheamus, Mark Henry, Sin Cara. Ones that actually could get somewhere. So I'm thinking with Brodus Clay getting them frequently, I'm thinking, to be honest, it's going to lead to something. Maybe it's going to lead to him getting involved with bigger guys in the WWE.
I mean, who knows what WWE could really push him as a monster, kind of like they've done with Mark Henry, Big Show, Viscera in the past. They could really, it just depends how they want to go about it. Brodus Clay is a big guy, of course. He's a guy who could believably be a dominant heel, which is kind of what you need to get those babyfaces over with the crowd, especially babyfaces which aren't as good at getting babyface heat. So it depends what WWE have got a lot of uses for this guy. So they could do something with him, but they could also drop the ball with him. And it really depends how they're going to book him from now on, especially now they're introducing him to TV.
That's very true. I'm thinking with the monsters fading out of the WWE main event slots and possibly mid-cards, it is good that they may bring Brodus Clay in to be a monster in the WWE and push him.
But do you think he could be a main eventer, though? That's the question.
No.
No, neither do I. I feel it could be a mid-card, maybe, but not a
strong mid-card. Strong
mid-card. Kind of like Mark Henry, but then you could work on him to make him believably in that main event, possibly. Just not
again, just
away.
Like I was saying about Justin Gabriel, it could be years away before they build him up. Just like Mark Henry, 15 years. But
again, that's exactly the point of this video. We don't know, do we? So we're just guessing. The honourable mention we're going to make in this video. This is a guy who's just signed with WWE. He was working with ROH for a long time, part of probably one of the greatest tag teams in ROH history, Kings of Wrestling, and that's Claudio Castognoli. You've seen his work in ROH. I've seen his work in ROH. He is now in developmental. Claudio Castognoli has that very arrogant Swiss European heel look about him, and the kind of, I'm better than you, I can out-wrestle you kind of guy. We haven't seen too much of him in WWE. We've seen a lot of him in ROH, but do you feel this guy does have a future in WWE if done correctly?
Well, I think at the moment he won't go straight to the main events because people have to have watched him in ROH to know who he is and what he's about. So I think if he comes in and starts a big career in the WWE, giving a push into it, I think, to be honest, he could make a good name for himself in the WWE.
He definitely has a look, doesn't he? I'll give him that. He definitely does have, like I said, that European heel, I'm better than you look, doesn't he? The kind of arrogant heel, which is what I like about Claudio Castognoli. It just depends whether WWE trust his ROH roots, which generally they don't seem to go with.
No, and there's also the possibility that his tag team partner could eventually be brought in, and they come back in together, and they start in tag team, then get pushed up eventually in a few years to mid card or higher mid card. But if he's going to come in on his own, yeah, I'd say he'd be good in the mid card.
Yeah, so who knows whether these guys we've mentioned, these 8 guys we mentioned, could be part of the future of WWE, whether it's in a mid card status or a real future, like 5 to 10 years main event status. Give us your thoughts though on this. Out of these people, do you feel these people warrant a possible main event spot in the future? Give us your thoughts on this whole thing, on this future of WWE. Let us know in the comment section down below. Have you got any more thoughts on this before we leave the video?
No, I think we covered it quite nicely. So what I'm going to say quickly is thank you for watching this video. And that has been it from Sin Daniel and Sin NJ. Goodbye!